Alright guys, welcome back to the shop. I've got this Stanley No. 6 that we've been working on before, and it's kind of sat in the corner waiting for me to get back to it, and I'm finally back onto it. I got to clean up all the parts and pieces. You guys can see I've already cleaned up the bed and have that painted up, and you can find that in another video. I'll post the little link up in the corner of the screen. But I'm going to throw the frog in the sandblaster because it needs to be taken care of. A lot of the paint is still good on that back side, but it does have quite a bit of rust. This would almost technically be a job that you could probably use like Evaporust and get this taken care of, let it sit, and then keep the original paint onto it. But because I've already sandblasted the other one and repainted it, I'm just gonna probably go ahead and do this. I'm gonna still look at that as an option, but regardless, I still have all these parts and pieces that need to get cleaned up, and that's what we're gonna be working on today. Get it done, get it sharpened up, and get it back into action. So I'm gonna go ahead and look at doing the Evaporust. I got this little tray that I can fit in here just like that, and then it keeps the fill point to a minimum, and then I can also drop in some of these little parts and pieces and see if we can get those cleaned up that way instead of putting them on the sandblaster or the grinding wheel. So we're just going to throw these little pieces in there and try to let them do their thing, and hopefully I have enough Evaporust in here to cover everything up. So let's see. Oh, it's gonna be so close. Hey, that'll work. I can take care of that little screw piece, but I have enough to cover that up. So I'll just let that sit in there for a little bit, and we'll go ahead and start working on this and try to get this cleaned up. I wonder if I should throw this in the sandblaster and then clean it up. So I was able to get the lever cap to fit in there as well, so that's awesome. So I'll be able to work with the iron and stuff like that. This has a fairly bad chip in there, and that needs to get cleaned up. And we also have to make a new tote because this one was broken, and it's got some kind of like epoxy or Elmer's glue on there or something, and it's not going to want to get made and put back together correctly. You guys can see there's some nasty stuff inside that hole. So we're going to just go ahead and make another one. Alright guys, so we're going to be working on the tote. Well, all that stuff is getting Evaporusted, and I went ahead and printed off this paper. I already started cutting it, but I wanted to show you guys the full-size paper. This is off of the Lee Valley Tools website, and this is a tote for number 5 and above. And fairly simple directions on everything to do. You pretty much cut out the line, and then we'll spray onto the piece of wood. So we're trying to match up the grain direction kind of with the way the tote is running, and I kind of think that it would be best to do it somewhere right about there. We'll try to get it as close to the bottom as possible, so probably like right there. And then it's kind of lining up with all the grain. So first thing first is that we're gonna go ahead and spray this. Kind of let it dry for a second. And then we'll kind of try to match it back up to how we want it. So now I'll come and I'll just square this off right there, and we'll get to cutting that out. All right, so we're about to drill the actual holes for where the screws are going in, and I've got it mounted onto this block of wood for better stability. And most of the time, whenever I go to grab a drill bit, I'll go for like a regular bit that looks like this. But in this case, you want one that's got like a brad point on it, and it will help get it right into that hole right where you want it, and then it won't wobble around, where this style does not have a point on it and it can actually drift down the hole. If I was doing this like a production run or something like that, I'd probably have some kind of better jig made up for this, but that's not what I do. So this is like a one-off type of deal, and this is the best way that I found to do it for me personally. If you guys have any other suggestions, by all means let me know, because I'm always willing to try different things. We're gonna go up with it a little bit more, lock the table in, and then let's see how it goes. And if you guys were wondering how I lined it up, I got it where I dropped the drill bit all the way down and then butt this right up against it, and then I kind of just eye it up with the whole entire system. And going in from both directions is better because it gives a little bit more freedom for any kind of error instead of just drilling one straight line. So this should be fairly well. We'll go ahead and drill this hole, and then we've actually got to drill this one up here as well, and that'll come next. So I just wanted to make you guys aware I made one little step error. I should have drilled the 7/16 inch hole first, and I also don't have a Forstner bit, so I had to use a regular drill bit. I should have drilled that one first and then came back with the 5/16 and drilled it all the way through. It would have been easier to set this up perfect. I did get it in there. It wobbled at the very beginning, but it did go in, and I believe it is deep enough. So that's what it looks like. It's just a nice little recessed hole. Alright, so I pulled the two parts out of the Evaporust real quick just to give it a little test fit. And as you can see, everything looks good. The handle is nice and tight on there, and it seems fairly even, so that is also a very good thing. And we'll get these back out and then throw them back into the Evaporust. And after about 24 hours or so, we have pulled everything out and everything turned out really good. There's no more rust on anything, and I'm really happy that nothing went in the sandblaster because this frog looks really good. Even if some of the Japanning is missing, it has a lot of the original features on there and doesn't have that paint that I put on there, which makes it a lot easier for me because you don't have to use any tape or anything like that. And with the lever cap, some of the nickel plating is missing, but it looks all original and has the original red paint, and there's no more rust on there. And now we'll be moving over to the Tote and just pretty much getting it shaped up to fit on the rest of the plane and keep on moving on with this. Alright guys, so after a lot of sanding and just filing it down, finally got this Tote completed, and it feels great. I had to work on this front edge a lot to kind of blend in the curve, but as you can tell, it's pretty good. I accidentally drilled this hole down here a little bit off center, but it was enough wiggle room to where I can get it over where it belonged. But there's the back side, so it's all good. It's got some nicks and scratches and stuff in there, but that's okay with me because I'm going to be leaving the frog exactly how it is, and I don't want to like really make the Tote look brand new if I'm going to leave like the Japanning and stuff like that with this. So having the plain bed just brand new looking or repainted is good for me, and then we'll clean up the iron and stuff like that. And even the chip breaker is going to be staying just as it is, because I like having it have some of the little bit of rougher look, but it's got the original paint where it's the Stanley. So next thing we're going to be working on is getting the frog reattached and cleaning up the iron. And I still got to redo, or not redo, but clean up the front knob. So I got the front knob and put a bolt through it and a nut on the other side long enough that I can put it in the drill press, grab it, and I'm just sanding it down, and then I'll put some of my beeswax mix on there and then get it mounted up on the plane. And with how badly damaged the iron was, we're just going to go ahead and take it right over to the grinding wheel and just get a new bevel shaped onto it. And I'm just going to take 2 passes, dip in water, and I'll show you guys how badly that one chipped area is. And I'm also using a square just to make sure everything stays lined up correctly. So just making sure that everything's nice, and then here you can see how bad that one corner is. And with the new shaved bevel, I went ahead and took it over to some Scary Sharp sanding and got it up to about 400 grits sandpaper, and then put it on the strop real quick and cleaned up all the other rust, and you can see that everything looks great now. Even the chip breaker looks good. Trying to get the plane tuned up, and the way I pretty much do it, you guys can see that I've been taking shavings with this already, but I cleared everything out. And the way I pretty much do it is I run it across the top and then just keep on turning that knob on the back side a little bit just to keep on trying to lower, and I caught a little bit right there. Catching a lot on this end. So I need some more tuning up on this to get the full width, but 3/4 of a width right now is fairly good for me. I'm fine with that. But this is it. This is the finished Stanley No. 6 restoration. Only painted up the base of it. Has a new tote. Sanded down, waxed the front knob, cleaned up the plain iron and chip breaker. Lever cap was put in evaporust because I wanted to keep the original red paint on there. So the iron, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, has a faint look of the Stanley imprint on there. Not sure if you guys will be able to actually see that. But I'm done. I'm happy with this one. This one came out really nice, cleaned up really well. With some good practice with making the tote. I haven't done that in a while, and I'm really happy with it, with the walnut look of it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys missed out on part 1 where I take it apart, sandblast the base, and then get it repainted, go ahead and check that out. If you guys are new, welcome to my channel, and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and check out all my other videos. I make all sorts of different things. Playlist is the easiest way to find whatever you're looking for. Appreciate you guys all watching. Until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.